Hello and welcome. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. We are interrupting our regular programming to bring you a special broadcast here on DD India. We're calling it 2025 Headlines to History, a look back at key events that made news in 2025. As 2025 draws to a close, Team DD India takes a look back at the year that tested India's economic resilience and revealed its ambition. From tariff shocks and global trade turbulence to record-breaking growth and digital transformation, India's journey unfolded month by month. It was a year of transformation and laying the foundation for a $5 trillion future. This is a story about how India turned challenge into triumph.
2025 saw India's economy prove its resilience and ambition. From tariff shocks in January to record-breaking growth in December, the story unfolded month by month, showing a nation on the rise. The year began with global trade wars reigniting, tariffs disrupted supply chains, and exporters faced turbulence. India seized the moment, positioning itself as an alternative hub, diversifying markets and accelerating export promotion missions. By March, reforms under Atmanirbhar Bharat provided fresh incentives for manufacturing and electronics. These measures cushioned the blow of external shocks, strengthening domestic demand and reducing reliance on volatile global flows. April brought sharper challenges. US tariffs on Indian goods doubled, slashing exports by nearly 30%. India responded swiftly, supporting textiles and gems while expanding trade with ASEAN and Africa. By June, the payoff was clear. India announced it had overtaken Japan to become the world's fourth largest economy, the GDP crossing 331 lakh crore rupees. A symbolic moment marking India's arrival among the world's economic giants. India's digital revolution reached new heights, with UPI processing more than 18 billion transactions in July alone, cementing India's position as the global leader in fast cashless payments. In August, the International Monetary Fund confirmed India's GDP at $4.18 trillion, ranking fourth worldwide and contributing nearly 4% of global output. India's GDP grew at 8.2% for the second quarter of fiscal year 2025-26. This was due to timely GST reforms combined with continued capex infusion. Manufacturing and services led the surge, proving India's growth was structural.
So I think the GDP growth story is largely India-driven. I think we also gave stimulus in terms of GST rate cuts. Before that, I think the income tax rates had been brought down, and together with that, I think we have support for the rural economy. So, and monsoons have been reasonably good. So all these factors did support India's growth. I think so. India is largely a domestically driven economy.
By October, inflation fell to just 0.25% year-on-year, the lowest in the current CPI series. At the same time, exports rose nearly 5%, showing resilience even in the turbulent global trade environment. The index of industrial production rose nearly 4% in November, with manufacturing up nearly 5% and construction surging more than 7%.
So if I aggregate October and November, both months, there is a growth in merchandise exports, despite all the global turmoil. All the levers of the economy have demonstrated a great deal of positivity.
By December, India's nominal GDP stood at 343 lakh crore rupees. Real growth averaged 6.6% for the year. Exports reached a record $825 billion, Services exports $387 billion, and cumulative foreign direct investment crossed the $1 trillion mark. The message was clear. India's economy was not just growing, it was transforming. India's booming economy is now firmly on the path to $5 trillion and within the next decade poised to stand among the world's top 3. Bureau Report, DD India.
Now, India's military is undergoing a fundamental shift from a major global importer to a net security provider, a transformation built on 3 core pillars of integration, innovation and self-reliance. The year showcased the might of the Indian Armed Forces, not just for defense, but for regional stability and technological leadership, a good example of which was Operation Sindoor, which was launched in response to the 22nd April terror attack at Pahalgam. The operation was a display of calibrated, non-escalatory force, a precise and strategic attack, avoiding conventional escalation while delivering a very clear message. Vishal Baristo reports.
India is rapidly embracing tri-service integration, creating a unified, agile fighting machine. This jointness is led by the Chief of Defence Staff, whose primary mandate is to achieve synergy across all domains: land, air and sea. The ongoing formation of integrated theatre commands is consolidating assets from all 3 services under a single commander for any given war zone. This ensures a faster, more effective response. The success of tri-service integration was quite evident during the clinical strikes on the terror camps in Pakistan during Operation Sindoor.
हमारी सेना ने वो करके दिखाया जो कई दशकों तक कभी हुआ नहीं था। सैकड़ों किलोमीटर दुश्मन की धरती पर घुस करके आतंकी इमारतों को खंडहर बना दिया। पाकिस्तान में हुई तबाही इतनी बड़ी है कि रोज नए-नए खुलासे हो रहे हैं।
Operation Sindoor was launched in response to cross-border terror attacks from Pakistan. It was a display of calibrated, non-escalatory force, a precise and strategic attack, avoiding conventional escalation while delivering a clear message. India had a clear technology edge. What stood out was the minimal use of external assets. The operation was a milestone in India's journey towards self-reliance, relying heavily on indigenous high-tech systems like long-range drones, guided munitions and electronic warfare assets. Reports indicate that this precision-led campaign successfully dismantled terror infrastructure and neutralized key air defense systems, all completed without the loss of a single Indian asset. It was a victory of technological self-reliance in modern air warfare.
Because of our strikes, there have been radars at least 4 places, command and control centers at 2 places, runway, of course, damaged at 2 places. Then 3 of their hangars in 3 different stations have been damaged. And in that hangar, as well as on tarmac, we have signs of one C-130 class of aircraft, one AEW&C class of aircraft, and at least 4 to 5 fighter aircraft, most likely F-16, because that base happened to be F-16.
Mega exercises like Trishul and the increasing adoption of Tri-Services Education Corps are standardizing doctrine and training, cementing an integrated defense shield. India's Navy is integrating advanced interceptor missiles like the AD-1 and AD-2 onto frontline warships, giving us a layered ballistic missile defense. BMD shield, covering land, air and now the sea. This is the definition of multi-domain jointness. During Operation Sindoor, the aggressive posturing by the Indian Navy pushed back Pakistan.
Immediate actions which we took, including the deployment of carrier battle group in the Northern Arabian Sea, forced the Pakistan Navy to remain either in their ports or airports or close to Makran coast, and they never ventured out.
The push for Atmanirbhar Bharat, self-reliant India, has transformed the defense industrial base into an engine of growth and global supply. Indigenous defense production hit a record over $18 billion in the last fiscal. India grows from just an importer to exporter. Defense exports surged to a record rupees 23,622 crores, approximately $2.76 billion. India now exports defense equipments and weapons to over 100 countries. Export portfolio include Tejas and Akash. India targets 50,000 crores in defense exports by 2029. India's defense might is not just measured by the number of soldiers or planes, but by the integrated spirit of our forces, the precision of our strategy, and the confidence born from domestic innovation. From the mountains to the seas, our forces are unified, future-ready, and a guarantor of peace and stability in the Indo-Pacific.
The year 2025 comes to an end, but the journey is not yet over. As the Prime Minister says, Operation Sindoor continues. And so, enemy beware, because Indian armed forces are always ready to meet any eventuality. With cameraman Rajesh Ricky in Delhi, this is Vishal Baristo for DT India.
India made new strides in the world of science and technology in 2025. From advances in space and developing indigenous semiconductor ecosystem to becoming a hub of global investments in emerging tech such as AI. The next report takes a look at the India story in the domain of science and technology.
India is fast emerging as a major science and technology hub. It secured 38th position in the Global Innovation Index among the top innovative economies in 2025. Driven by leadership in space, IT, AI and digital capabilities, massive pool of STEM talent, strong policy support and booming startup culture, the year witnessed many milestones in this domain. The year began with a historic achievement by ISRO. Space Docking Experiment or SpaceX mission's docking operation was successfully completed, marking India's entry into the elite group of nations capable of executing space docking operations, a critical capability for future advancements such as satellite servicing, space station operations and interplanetary exploration. Indian Air Force Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla made history as the pilot for Axiom-4, becoming the first Indian to visit the International Space Station. He conducted pioneering experiments in microgravity on subjects such as muscle regeneration, algae, microbial growth, crop viability and others. It is a vital stepping stone towards India's own human spaceflight ambition, including the Gaganyaan and Bharatiya Antariksha Station. First made in India 32-bit processor chip was presented to Prime Minister Narendra Modi during Semicon India 2025. It marked a milestone in India's semiconductor journey. India is rapidly building its semiconductor ecosystem via India Semiconductor Mission, focusing on design, fabrication and talent, positioning India as a global hub for electronics manufacturing and design. Bengaluru-based QPi AI announced the launch of one of India's most powerful quantum computers, featuring 25 superconducting qubits. It integrates advanced quantum processors, next-generation quantum HPC software platforms, and AI-enhanced quantum solutions. With these milestones, QPi AI is driving deep science and deep tech innovation across life sciences, drug discovery, material sciences, mobility, logistics, sustainability, and climate action. Council of Scientific and Industrial Research developed indigenous technology to produce paracetamol, a widely used pain reliever and fever reducer. This innovation aims to make India self-reliant in paracetamol manufacturing, reducing dependence on imported ingredients, aligning with Prime Minister Modi's Atmanirbhar Bharat vision. India has developed its own comprehensive genomic dataset through the Genome India project, sequencing 10,000 whole genomes from diverse populations to create a unique resource for personalized medicine, disease research, and developing India-specific genomic tools. India's strides in AI and emerging tech is making it a hub of global interest and investments. Microsoft announced investment of $17.5 billion in India's cloud and AI infrastructure over about 4 years, describing it as its largest single investment in Asia. Amazon announced new investment of over $35 billion in India by 2030, focusing on AI, boosting exports, expanding logistics, and creating jobs to align with India's digital growth vision. Google will invest $15 billion to build an AI data hub in India. The year 2025 marked many milestones for India in the domain of science and tech. It will be interesting to see how the momentum is taken forward in the new year 2026. Shubhendu Ghosh for DD India.
All right, time for a short break. Lots more coming up on the other side. Keep watching DD India. Don't go anywhere.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy, always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran and you're watching 2025 Headlines to History on DD India. Now, the year 2025 brought unprecedented natural disasters across the globe, from deadly typhoons in Asia to record heat waves in Europe. Communities faced floods, earthquakes and wildfires, yet stories of resilience and solidarity shone through. Urvashi Dwivedi has more.
In 2025, the world faced the immense power of nature. Yet within every storm, quake and heat wave, the spirit of humanity shone through. Communities braved adversity, neighbors supported one another, and relief workers acted with courage. A reminder that resilience is as vital as the challenges we face. The Philippines faced Typhoon Matmo in early October, leading to large-scale evacuations, followed by Typhoon Kalmegi in southern Leyte region, the deadliest disaster of the year there. Super Typhoon Fang Wong struck Aurora province with winds of 185 kilometers per hour. Its rain bans flooding over 1,000 homes in Taiwan. Myanmar endured a devastating 7.7 magnitude earthquake near Mandalay, killing over 3,000 people and causing damage across Thailand and Vietnam. Sri Lanka faced Cyclone Ditwa along its eastern coast, resulting in hundreds of fatalities. And later, Cyclone Senyar struck northern Sumatra region, Indonesia, causing landslides and over 400 casualties. Across Pakistan, floods affected nearly 7 million people, triggering massive rescue and relief operations. Powerful 8.8 magnitude earthquake shook Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula. The tremor triggered tsunami warnings across Japan. The alert tested preparedness and highlighted the resilience of communities in Japan and the wider East Asian region. In West Asia, Wildfires raced through Syria's countryside, threatening villages and farmland. In Iran, flames reached the Hyrcanian forests, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Ancient ecosystems, once protected by climate stability, now faced destruction. Along the Indian Ocean, storms began to form earlier and travel farther than expected. Cyclone Dikledi gathered strength over warm waters, pushing heavy rain and violent winds toward eastern Africa. Madagascar faced tropical cyclone Honte, displacing tens of thousands and destroying thousands of homes. Severe floods hit Tanzania and Nigeria, with Mokwa, Niger recording hundreds of fatalities, while communities mobilized to provide shelters, medical aid and reconstruction. While Ethiopia experienced about 50 earthquakes along the Afar Oromia Rift, recording magnitudes between 4.2 and 5.8, Haile Gapi volcano erupted in Ethiopia for the first time in 10,000 years, spewing ash that disrupted air travel far beyond Africa. Europe experienced its warmest June on record, with heat waves claiming at least 16,500 lives by mid-September. Heat domes and record-high Mediterranean sea temperatures drove peaks over 46 degrees Celsius in Spain and Portugal. Iceland's Reykjanes Peninsula also erupted, with the Sundnukur volcano sending plumes of ash into the sky, prompting evacuations. In the United States, March tornado outbreaks swept across the Mississippi Valley, including an enchanted Fujita Scale 5 tornado in North Dakota, the first such classification in 12 years, causing fatalities and widespread damage. In January, California faced twin wildfires in Los Angeles suburbs, destroying over 16,000 structures and displacing 41,000 people. In South America, Argentina's Bahia Blanca region experienced record rainfall, forcing over 1,000 evacuations, while a tornado in Brazil's Parana state killed 6 and injured hundreds. Across continents, 2025 tested the limits of nature and humanity alike. Communities rebuilt homes, rescued neighbors, and adapted to unprecedented challenges. A reminder that in the face of adversity, the human spirit remains unyielding and hope continues to guide the way forward. Urvashi Dwivedi for DD India.
The year 2025 tested nations with disasters internationally and nationally. From earthquakes in India's neighborhood to floods at home, emergencies struck without warning. Yet, amid the devastation, India's relief and rescue operations stood out for their swiftness, coordination and compassion, reflecting a nation ready to respond when humanity calls. Deepika Yadav has more.
In 2025, India stepped up its international humanitarian response with speed, scale, and strategic reach. On March 28, a 7.7 magnitude earthquake struck Myanmar, killing over 1,600 people. India launched Operation Brahma, deploying relief teams and medical support. The mission continued till April 9, with thousands treated and lives saved, reflecting India's commitment to regional humanitarian leadership. In June, escalating tensions in West Asia left thousands of Indian nationals stranded in conflict zones. India launched Operation Sindoor, using special flights and land routes to evacuate over 4,400 Indians safely. Once again, citizen safety remained at the core of India's overseas crisis response. In September, a major earthquake struck Afghanistan's Kunar province. Between September 1st and 25th, the disaster claimed over 2,200 lives. India responded with truckloads of food, water purifiers, and medical supplies routed through Chabahar to Kabul. The aid reaffirmed India's development-focused and people-centric engagement even amid complex geopolitics. Towards the end of the year, Cyclone Ditwa struck Sri Lanka. India launched Operation Sagar Bandhu, sending over 1,050 metric tons of relief material, evacuating more than 450 people and treating over 3,300 patients. Alongside overseas missions, emergencies with India called for rapid, large-scale domestic rescue operations. India's domestic response was put to the test early in the year. On January 7, a coal mine collapse in Dima Hasao district on the Assam-Meghalaya border trapped workers underground. The Indian Army's Eastern Command launched an intensive rescue operation under challenging conditions. In June, an Air India aircraft crash in Ahmedabad demanded immediate support. Of the 242 people on board, all but one lost their lives. The Indian Army deployed engineers, medical teams, firefighting assets, and quick action teams. With the onset of monsoon, floods and landslides affected Himachal Pradesh and the northeast. Operation Jal Rahat saw army columns move day and night from submerged villages in Assam and Manipur to landslide-hit districts of Himachal. Relief supplies, evacuations, and medical aid ensured that no village was left behind in rising waters. By mid-August, floods and landslides battered northern India, displacing over 1 million people. The Indian Army conducted 82 relief missions, evacuating more than 6,000 people, while the Indian Air Force rescued 541. Across borders and within the country, 2025 reflected India's sustained relief response, from rapid rescue to large-scale humanitarian support. When disaster strikes, India stands ready. Deepika Yadav for DD India.
As 2025 comes to an end, Team DD India looks back at a year that blended faith, courage and progress. From a spiritual search at Prayagraj to decisive moments in Paris and Tianjin, our team of correspondents brought every story with truth and clarity. This special report by Sujata Lochap captures a year when headlines turn into history. Take a look.
Tell us first of all, how was International Space Station?
Another eventful year draws to a close. From spiritual confluence at Prayagraj to the strategic corridors of Paris and Tianjin, 2025 will be remembered as a year when moments turned into history. Through every headline, DD India stayed true to its mission: authentic, verified and deeply human storytelling.
India is just great. I mean, we came to Kumbh Mela. It was very organized till the point we had to take the bath.
The year began at Triveni Sangam, where over 66 crore devotees gathered for Mahakumbh, nearly twice the population of the United States.
Faith for the millions
For 45 sacred days, faith flowed through Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati as we brought the viewers every face and every story from the river of devotion. From Prayagraj, we journeyed to Ayodhya. In November, Prime Minister Narendra Modi hoisted the saffron Dharma Dhwaj at Ram Janmabhoomi Temple, a moment of spiritual unity that touched the soul of the nation. And in July, the sacred Viprava Buddha relics returned home after 127 years, completing a long journey from colonial loss to cultural pride. But 2025 also tested our collective strength. On April the 22nd, terror struck Pahalgam, taking 26 innocent lives. The nation stood as one with resolve, sorrow and defiance. Soon after, Operation Sindoor struck deep into terror networks across Pakistan, and Pakistan occupied Jammu and Kashmir. Our defense correspondents chronicled India's firm and precise response, a story of courage and clarity.
India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau.
June brought heartbreak again with Air India flight AI-171 crashing in Ahmedabad. 241 lives were lost. Amid grief and confusion, our reports stood for truth and respect, focusing on facts, not fear.
Everything happened in my eye.
It was journalism with empathy when the nation needed compassion more than noise.
Prime Minister Modi in French.
On the global stage, India's leadership shone with the Horizon 2047 roadmap. From Paris, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Macron co-chaired the AI Action Summit, to Tianjin for the 25th SCO Summit, TD India was there, capturing the strategic depth and the vision of confident India. The year ended with the 23rd India-Russia Summit, where President Putin's visit marked a forward shift from defense to future energy and agriculture partnerships. It was also a year of innovation and infrastructure. The majestic Chenab Rail Bridge, the tallest in the world, stood as a symbol of engineering brilliance. Our coverage, Bridge to Prosperity, celebrated progress in every sense.
Height of 359 meters.
At the India Mobile Congress, we explored 5G, 6G and India's digital expansion.
1,300 had taken place during these 4 days, and there were also important MOUs.
In Mumbai, Wave Summit showcased how AVGC XR sector is setting India's creative future in motion.
So many, there'll be so many guidelines.
And as always, the nation tuned into Doordarshan for moments that unite India. From the Republic Day parade at Kartavya Path to Prime Minister's address on Independence Day, outlining his vision for Developed India 2047.
The 6th edition of Khelo India Youth Games.
Our eyes were also on the youth. From Khelo India Youth Games in Bihar to local fields across the country, we captured grit, dreams and the power of sport. Beyond politics and policy, we reported stories that stirred the heart, including the solemn farewell to Pope Francis at the Vatican, attended by President Draupadi Murmu.
Legendary actor, director and producer Shri
And we ended the year with two inspiring voices. Cinema legend Mohanlal reflecting on storytelling's timeless evolution, and Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, India's first ISS astronaut, whose journey reminded us that for India, even the sky is not the limit.
One man heading to space.
That's 2025. Faith, fight, flight, and forever forward. TD India doesn't chase noise, we deliver what is real. Thank you for trusting us this year. From all of us here at TD India, thank you for watching and have a purposeful and peaceful New Year. Sujata Lochar for TD India.
Humanity has already endured two catastrophic world wars. Yet in 2025, conflict remained a dominant aspect of geopolitics. Across Europe, West Asia and Africa, violence has persisted, intensified or newly erupted. This year witnessed sustained fighting in Ukraine, brutal wars in Sudan and Myanmar, and a military confrontation between India and Pakistan. West Asia and Africa turn into the most turbulence-stricken regions. As the year concludes, international relations appear more strained than ever, frayed by violence, diplomatic friction, and shifting global power equations.
The shape of world politics is being redrawn through warfare, even as world leaders continue to pledge peace. Yet, the Russia-Ukraine conflict, now in its fourth year, remains unresolved. Russia still controls roughly 20% of Ukraine and even expanded its grip in 2024. Renewed US-Russia talks, including a Trump-Putin summit in Alaska, raised hopes for a breakthrough, but none came. Later, visits by US envoys also failed, with Moscow rejecting revised peace proposals while insisting it will not return territories seized by force. Hopes are now pinned on the outcome of the latest round of talks in Miami. Aid remains Ukraine's lifeline. Trump repeatedly criticized Europe for contributing less than the US and urged NATO allies to buy American weapons for Kyiv. European leaders, meanwhile, explored tapping frozen Russian assets to fund Ukraine's defense. Tensions spiked sharply between the US and Venezuela. President Trump vowed to dismantle drug cartels and tighten control over Venezuelan oil exports. The US blocked sanctioned tankers and sent troops and warships to the region. Caracas is trying to push back with defiant rhetoric, while China and Russia warned the standoff could escalate dangerously. The Israel-Hamas conflict remained volatile, with heavy fighting and severe humanitarian suffering. In October, Trump announced a renewed ceasefire under a plan to disarm Hamas and rebuild Gaza. Previous ceasefires had collapsed over hostage disputes. By year's end, the fighting had largely paused, but Gaza's future remained uncertain. Tensions between Israel and Iran flared into open conflict. Israel struck Iranian military and nuclear sites, and Iran retaliated with missiles and drones. The US sent additional forces to the region, raising fears of a wider conflict. Washington avoided direct strikes on Iran's leadership, but regional tensions reached their highest point in years. A year after Assad's fall, Syria remained fragile under interim leader Ahmad al-Shara. Sectarian violence displaced tens of thousands, while US strikes targeted Islamic State cells, underscoring the ongoing security vacuum. Power shifted in Yemen. Israeli strikes killed senior Houthi leaders, while the Southern Transitional Council expanded control across much of the south. Analysts warn that the country's fragmentation could prolong the conflict and worsen the already dire humanitarian crisis. In the Caucasus, there was rare progress. In August, Armenia and Azerbaijan met at the White House and announced a peace deal covering border demarcation and economic cooperation, a major breakthrough after nearly 4 decades of conflict. South Asia witnessed its own flashpoint after a deadly terror attack in Pahalgam. India launched Operation Sindoor, targeting terror infrastructure across the line of control. Diplomatic ties with Pakistan were downgraded, treaties suspended, and travel halted. A cessation of hostilities was achieved through direct military communication, averting a wider conflict. Meanwhile, Pakistan's relations with Afghanistan deteriorated sharply. Pakistani airstrikes against militants inside Afghanistan triggered Taliban retaliation along the border. Civilian casualties rose, ceasefires collapsed, and mediation efforts failed, leaving tensions dangerously high. Bangladesh is facing its most severe crisis in more than 10 years. The anticipated February polls are expected to ease tensions for political parties and the general public alike, following months of uncertainty that have strained governance and the economy and fueled concerns about the nation's future. Myanmar's civil conflict intensified this year, but upcoming elections in Myanmar are being viewed as a possible positive shift for the nation, as the military-led government claims they will mark a fresh start for the country. Many believe the elections could restore hope and renewed spirit among citizens who have endured prolonged conflict and hardship. By year's end, the Sahel buckled under mounting violence. In Mali, jihadists cut key fuel routes, rattling the economy and spreading instability south and west. Attacks spilled into Benin, Togo, and Nigeria, while coups and attempted takeovers tested regional leadership. In the Democratic Republic of Congo, M23 rebel advances displaced millions more, even as peace efforts struggled to gain traction. In the Caribbean, Haiti's security situation deteriorated further. Gangs expanded control over the capital, attacking hospitals, schools, and police stations, pushing the already fragile state closer to total collapse. As 2025 draws to a close, the world stands at a moment of possibility. While some conflicts moved closer to fragile truces and others continued to test international resolve, renewed diplomatic efforts have shown that dialogue remains alive. Trust is slowly being rebuilt, and despite challenges, the pursuit of peace continues. The year ahead offers an opportunity for 2026 to bring progress, cooperation, and stronger foundations for global stability. Aarti Rana's report for DD India.
All right, time for a very short break. Keep watching DD India. Don't go anywhere.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage, and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout ho gaya.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran, and you're watching 2025 Headlines to History on DD India. Now, 2025 will be remembered as a landmark year for Indian sport, a year of historic triumphs, new champions, and global recognition. From the women in blue lifting their first ever World Cup to India's dominance in cricket, boxing, chess, and para-sport, it was a season of breakthroughs and belief. Is a look back at the defining moments that made sports in 2025 truly unforgettable.
Queens of the World 2025 will forever belong to women in blue. On 2nd November, Indian women's cricket team finally touched glory. World champions at last. Harmanpreet Kaur's side stunned Australia in the semis and edged past South Africa in a nerve-shredding final. An unprecedented title that redefined Indian cricket narrative and inspired a generation. Champions again. India lifted ICC Champions Trophy 2025 in Dubai, defeating New Zealand by 4 wickets. KL Rahul and Ravindra Jadeja held their nerves as India chased down 252 with 1 over to spare. Asia Cup number 9. After that, India claimed the Asia Cup with a last over thriller against Pakistan. Tilak Verma's unbeaten 69 of 53 lit up Colombo and sealed India's 9th continental crown. India won Women's T20 World Cup for blind. Indian women's cricket team won inaugural 2020 World Cup for the blind. India defeated Nepal by 7 wickets in the final, played in Sri Lankan capital Colombo. 90 not out. For years, it was a question. Kab 90 par hoga? When he will cross 90? Neeraj Chopra demolished the barrier with a monstrous 90.3 meters throw at the Doha Diamond League, a throw that echoed across world athletics. Boxing's Big Bang. India's campaign at the World Boxing World Cup Finals in Greater Noida produced a stunning 9 gold medals. 7 of those came from women: Jasmine, Nikhat, Praveen, Arundhati, Preeti, Meenakshi and Nupur. A golden sweep that signaled India's rising supremacy in the world of boxing. Divya's World, India's Pride. 19-year-old Divya Deshmukh scripted history by winning the FIDE Women's World Cup, India's first ever title, beating legend Koneru Hampi in an all-Indian final. She also sealed her Grandmaster norm. And Pragnananda topped FIDE Circuit 2025, booking his seat in the 2026 candidates. Asia Cup champions. After 8 years, Indian men's hockey team reclaimed the Asia Cup, sealing their 2026 World Cup berth. Global ambition realized. India hosted its first ever World Para-Athletic Championship at the JLN Stadium, returning with a record 22 medals including 6 gold, a moment underlined India's growing commitment to para-sport. 2030 Ahmedabad awaits. Ahmedabad was officially awarded the 2030 Commonwealth Games, strengthening India's roadmap towards a bid for the 2036 Olympics. Colts on a mission. The Indian Under-17 team qualified for the AFC Under-17 Asian Cup 2026, defeating Iran in a must-win final qualifier in Ahmedabad. Europe's new kings. PSG finally claimed their first UEFA Champions League title, demolishing Inter Milan final in the final. Liverpool were crowned Premier League champion, finishing 10 points clear of Arsenal. Double world champions in Kho-Kho. India swept both men's and women's titles at the first ever Kho-Kho World Cup, defeating Nepal in a dominant fashion. Uttarakhand hosts the National Games. The 38th National Games in Uttarakhand saw services dominate with 121 medals. Bihar hosted the Khelo India Youth Games, finishing a record 15th with 36 medals, a remarkable jump from 28th place. 2025 saw India scale new heights in almost all sports, propelled by government's encouragement and support under PM Modi's dynamic leadership that pushes sportspersons to excel across disciplines. Sports Desk, DD India.
Now, 2025 has been remarkable for the spiritual grandeur of the Mahakumbh, the cultural bridge of Kashi Tamil Sangamam, and the festival of Deepavali earning global recognition on UNESCO's Intangible Cultural Heritage List, moments that have left India with memories to cherish. Take a look.
India, the cradle of one of the world's oldest civilizations, is renowned for its diverse culture, heritage and warm hospitality. The country embodies the spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the belief that the world is one family. 2025 has been a phenomenal chapter in India's rich cultural journey. From Mahakumbh, the grand confluence of culture and devotion, to Kashi Tamil Sangamam, to Deepavali being inscribed into UNESCO's representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. The year has gifted us timeless memories to cherish. Mahakumbh 2025, the confluence of culture, emotion and devotion, commenced on 13th of January on the auspicious day of Paush Purnima with unmatched grandeur. During the 45-day long spiritual congregation, millions of devotees took a holy dip at the sacred Sangam. Saints, Shankracharyas and people from every section of society participated in this great Sanatan festival. President Draupadi Murmu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, several union ministers and many dignitaries from India and abroad witnessed this historic event. Kashi Tamil Sangamam 3.0, held in Varanasi, celebrated the deep cultural and civilizational ties between Tamil Nadu and Kashi. The event featured vibrant performances by over 869 artists and 190 local folk and classical groups, drawing an enthusiastic audience of nearly 200,000 spectators. A compilation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's thoughts and speeches on culture, titled Sanskriti Ka Panchwa Adhyay, has now been presented to readers in book form. The book was formally released by the head of the Juna Akhara, Acharya Mahamadleshwar Pujya Swami Avdeshanand Giri Maharaj. Sanskriti Ka Panchwa Adhyay is a collection of speeches delivered by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on various occasions. It highlights Indian culture, traditions, spiritual values, and the country's rich cultural heritage. Prime Minister Narendra Modi launched a year-long national celebration to mark the 150th anniversary of the national song Vande Mataram. The celebrations will be held starting from 7th of November 2025 to 7th of November 2026, commemorating 150 years of this timeless composition. Written by Bankim Chandra Chattopadhyay in a blend of Sanskrit and Bangla, Vande Mataram appears in his novel Anand Mat. The song remained a powerful source of inspiration throughout India's freedom struggle for decades. Beyond inspiring millions of freedom fighters, Vande Mataram stands as a profound expression of devotion to Mother India and a lasting symbol of country's unity.
Vande! 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 Vande!
On 21st of June, the 11th International Day of Yoga was celebrated across the country and around the world. Prime Minister Narendra Modi participated in the main event held in Visakhapatnam. The Ministry of Culture organized yoga sessions at 100 prominent tourist destinations and more than 50 cultural sites across India. The International Day of Yoga was also observed at the Indian embassies and missions worldwide. Speaking on this year's theme, Yoga for One Earth, One Health, the Prime Minister said that yoga awakens us to a deeper connection with nature and guides the world toward unity. In New Delhi, the 20th session of the UNESCO Intergovernmental Committee for the Safeguarding of the Intangible Cultural Heritage was held from 8th to 12th of December. A special highlight of this year's session was the inscription of the festival of Deepavali on UNESCO's representative list of the intangible cultural heritage of humanity. This inclusion recognizes Deepavali's global cultural significance. The Festival of Lights, celebrated with light, joy and hope, symbolizes new energy and optimism, and its listing reflects global recognition and respect for India's vibrant living traditions and festive spirit. Achievements like these further strengthen India's position as a global cultural leader and enhance its cultural diplomacy on the world stage. As we bid goodbye to year 2025, India's cultural legacy continues to strengthen, connecting people from diverse backgrounds and creating a spirit of togetherness, peace and harmony.
So as the curtains come down on 2025, here's a reflection on some major events in politics, sports and entertainment, and milestones and achievements which got etched in our memories. And with that, it's a wrap on this special broadcast. But news continues here on DD India. You can catch all the latest updates on our social media, mobile and digital platforms. Thanks for watching.